remember remember November 5th, a day to remember. We are talking about V for Vendetta here. Welcome to another episode from the Critics Collective. We are talking about this movie. It pops up for the most part everybody's mind normally in November, um, as it's a key part of the movie. And we'll go into our highs and lows, and then we'll go ahead and rate it, and you'll be on with your day. This movie is about a future in Britain where a society of a shadowy freedom fighter known by the name of V plots to overthrow a ridiculous setup for government with the help of a young woman played by Natalie. That's a fair assessment. We won't be talking any spoilers just in case you didn't watch this movie that came out in 2005 around March. With that being said, Manny, what are your highs and lows, V for Vendetta?
Uh, some of the lows, I would say, was I wish there's a lot of stuff that personally I thought that was missing from the comic itself that I wish they would have had in there. Um, I think that's pretty much my low as far as the film go.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, my high for this film, you could start by saying just the dialogue alone, the whole future aspect of what's going on as far as Britain and the government control, and all the secret rebellion going on. Then you have, of course, Natalie Portman, but of course, the one who carried the whole movie, Hugo Weaving. Just his acting alone, just you never see his face, but just him behind the mask, how he made that mask so much more just from his dialogue and his acting. You
Mm-hmm.
could see it. I don't. In the mask is just a smile with a mustache, and
Mm-hmm.
but you get so much expression just from his talking point and how he moved, and of course the action. Um, the director of this film, I think James McTeigue.
Mm-hmm.
This film and another film he did, I'll probably talk about later on, Ninja Assassin. I think he's great when it comes to a certain action scene. And one particular scene in this film where V is getting like he gets shot up and he gets up in that one action scene where he's just taking down people. That alone was amazing. But I wish I would have got more action out of this film, but overall great film. Even though I wish I had more action, just the dialogue alone from V and everything made the film so much more. I don't think it gets much credit that neither.
Gotcha. What do you think, Iris? What's your highs and lows of
So
V?
I'm coming from a perspective for a person that has never read the comic books. So I don't know what has been displayed in the comic books that wasn't shown in the movie. My pros itself is that um, the funny thing is, thinking about it, it relates to a lot of I think what we're dealing with right now. I I have to say the movie itself, for my pros, is the acting is amazing. The points that they're trying to make throughout the movie are very relatable, especially with what we're dealing with right now within the government. Um, the cast, like Natalie Portman, is an amazing actress to me, and the funny thing is that V, you don't get to see his face like that throughout the movie, and you build this connection with him. Just as Manny said, the way he moves, the way he carries himself throughout the movie, the points that he is, you know giving you, it's like, yeah, you're kind of killing people, but it's like you're rooting for the bad guy. um and I say bad guy with quotes around it. um it kind of reminds me of, law abiding citizen. That's the vibe it gives me, that it's like, this injustice, and you try to do things the right way, but it's like you can't, it doesn't seem like you can make the change without being violent. And it's
Mm.
sad, but it's kind of a necessary evil sometimes. um my con for this movie, my biggest con, is there were some parts that were a little slow moving for me, that I thought there was too much talking, and that I wanted that more action that I'm like, okay, we get it. People suck. Let's go ahead and kill somebody now. you know, like that's that's what killed it the most for me. I feel like there were some parts of the movie that could have just been cut shorter to give us a little bit more of the action that I feel that the movie was lacking.
Okay. All right. So for me, my lows would be the pacing. This movie sits a little bit over 2 hours, and I felt like the pacing is something that kind of hurt it because you didn't know whether or not you're getting a action movie or you're getting a drama. And with the director, like we talked about before, with the assassin movie and his parts in the Matrix, I felt like you kind of wanted that movie, almost like a Batman kind of pacing. The other thing I would say is the political views. I felt like they dipped their toes in the water. They didn't go full on in a political way. They kind of went, even though this movie is much more dark. It's a much more darker tone movie. I felt like politically on the issues, they don't go as deep as like the Hunger Game or Maze Runners, where even though those are for teens, though adults can pick it up as well, I feel like those hit the same level politically, and this should have hit something deeper. It's kind of like if they did a live movie for 1984, I felt like it would fall in this same realm, and people will say that it just didn't hit politically. The things I did enjoy about it was, like you guys have mentioned, it's timeless, and what I mean by timeless, not like Wizard of Oz timeless, or Goonies. It's timeless in the sense that history repeats itself, and so there's always going to be a group of people that feel that this story is their story. That feels that this story they can pull something from it, like House of Dynamites or certain movies that kind of look like they're taking a page out of history or predicting the future. I will say Hugo's acting outshined everybody else respectfully for a good cast because again, he's acting his ass off behind a mask. He's the same person from The Matrix, Slow Horses, and Lord of the Rings, and he does a great job of showcasing why he's a significant actor, a method actor. And the look, I felt like the look and feel felt old and new at the same time. It felt edgy. The look and the feel, even the storyline reminded me of Star Wars. I know it sounds weird, but Star Wars, the root of George Lucas's idea was the different factions were actually different countries, similar to the real story of Wizard of Oz. So I enjoy watching movies or reading books and stuff that's just there's a deeper meaning behind it. And with that, we can only go so deep before we have to say, what is the rating? What do we rate V for Vendetta? Rated R, came out 2005. Man, if I can go back in 2005, I wouldn't put money down on stocks. I wouldn't do nothing like that. But I might buy a house or two or three. I don't know. I might save some money and wait for 2008 to happen and say, "Oh no. Oh no, I didn't know that the market was going to crash. I'm going to buy some homes." And just go from there. But with that being said, Manny, what do you rate V for Vendetta? But before you go ahead and rate that, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, and comment for more. Put at the bottom what you think here at the Critics Collective. Go for it, Manny.
I'm definitely giving it a 4. It was a good film. Enjoy it. Again, the dialogue alone carried this film for me. I know you said they missed a lot as far as the political aspect of it, which they did. Um, the comic is total 10 issues, so hopefully one day they do a series where they follow the all 10 issue, as far because you get much more as far as the political side of it. And even the writer alone, Alan Moore, who's written like stories like Watchmen and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so he writes great stories. So they missed out a lot as far as the comic goes. But overall, 10 out of 10. I'm sorry, 10 out of 10 when it comes to the comic, but overall the film, 4.
I know Lingo was like, this motherfucker just messed up the race. This motherfucker just added more numbers.
You should have thrown in a half there.
Right.
Gave him that 10.5.
Right. 10.73. I'm like, what? Do the math on that. Iris, what do you say, V?
I am gonna have to agree with Manny on this one. I'm giving this one a 4. The chit chat was just a little bit too chit chatty for me. I wanted some more action. Um, but it was still an enjoyable movie for what it was. So I'm giving this baby a 4.
All right, I agree. I would say the same thing. There are some key phrases that are still being used, and people post it and put it all over the place in different parts of the world, honestly. It is something different. I think the action and pacing kind of slows it down, but you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here, and we greatly appreciate that. Until next time, see you later.